Welcome to Words from Your Mama. I'm your host, Simone. If you're a mom or maybe considering being a mom and you want some encouragement along the way, then this podcast is for you. On this podcast, I interview moms from every walk of life as they share their experiences. So thanks for listening.
I think the hardest thing for me is honestly wondering if I'm doing it right.
On this episode, we're going to be listening to my friend Chantel Proctor just share some insights of being a mom to 3 crazy little boys. Hey Chantel, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Chantel Proctor. I am a mother of 3 children, ages 7, 3. And you know what? This is the part. People ask me, how old are your kids? And I'm like, but they're 7, 3, and 1.
Okay.
My oldest son name is Khalil. My second is Peyton, and my third is Caleb.
Awesome.
I'm from Lexington Park, Maryland. Lived here all my life, and yeah.
Awesome. So, did you imagine being a mom growing up? Were you I'm gonna be a mom forever?
So honestly, no. I have a lot of siblings. I'm the oldest of them all. So it's I did a lot of babysitting and things like that for my mom. So I was I'm going to have a free life. Yeah. This will not be me with these children screaming in the grocery store. And I had a lot of cousins. My grandmother only had 2 kids, and those 2 kids made 10 grandkids, and I'm the oldest out of all the grandkids. Yeah. So you can imagine all the babysitting. So no, I didn't want to be a mom. Even up until having my first child, that was still not in the cards for me, in my mind. But, we don't make the plans around here. So
that's right. God does.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome. I'm going to start with the tough questions first and then just get those out the way and then get into the fun stuff.
Okay.
So, what do you love the most about being a mom?
So, the thing I love most about being a mom, I feel is the continual growth. Mm-hmm. You have to grow, you have to, because you're teaching your children. So it's a learning thing. So for me, I feel it's just the continual learning. Yeah. And then also just the love you receive. You can meet people and people say they love you unconditionally, but there's always a condition to people's friendships and relationships and love and things like that. But with your kids, you can literally do anything and they just love you. And it's the random love, out of nowhere. Hey, Mom, I love you. Yeah. And it's just you really don't receive that much from a lot of other people. So I could say it's just the true, pure, unconditional love. That's my favorite thing about being a mom.
That's awesome. I love that. I don't imagine being a mother myself, but I can imagine the unconditional love. I get that from my puppy sometimes. So yeah. It's cool.
You could do anything. Yeah. And they're just hey, I love you so much. Even when you think in your mind, I'm doing the worst job in the world. Yeah. It doesn't matter to them. Yeah. Your mom, and you're the world to them. So
that's awesome. That's so cool. So then on the converse of that, what would be the hardest part about being a mom?
I think the hardest thing for me is honestly wondering if I'm doing it right. Mm-hmm. You see all these moms all over the place, and it's especially when you have all these outside influences now today. Yeah. You have the TikTok moms, you got the ultimate Facebook mothers, and it's you see them with their children and you think this is exactly how it's supposed to go. Why am I not? You know what I'm saying? I think it's just the constant wondering if there is more I need to learn, when, to be honest, there is no handbook for motherhood. True. So I think that's the toughest thing. If someone would have made a book, then we would be good to go. But it's just the surprises. Yeah. It's the things you're not ready for. It's the wanting to know that you're raising your child to the best of your abilities. Yeah. And you really don't know until they become 30 and you see what they've done with all that you've taught them. Yeah. And that's when you know, hey, I've done a great job. But for right now, at the ages they are, I just pray to God, give me the strength and the wisdom, Lord, because I do not know.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's scary. Speaking of scary, what is the scariest moment you've had as a mother?
I'm gonna be honest. I was just new a mom. I just given birth to my son. when I had gotten pregnant with my first child, when I got pregnant with him, my pregnancy went pretty smooth towards the end. I ended up getting something called preeclampsia, and I had developed something called the HELP syndrome, when like things start to fail and things like that. And the doctors were just talking about like how whether I was going to be okay or if my son was going to be okay, because his heart rate was dropping. I wasn't even a mom yet, but I could feel that I didn't want to lose my child without even getting to know if this was, what I'm saying, if he's going to be healthy, strong, whatever it is.
Scary.
That was the scariest moment for me, because I didn't know if I would make it, and what if he came into this world and I didn't get to experience being his mom, or if I would make it and he came into this world, oh, he didn't make it, and then I had to kind of go through the what ifs, like what would he have been, things like that. I think that was the scariest part, because at that moment it was completely out of my control. Like I had to rely on the doctors at the time. Like I at the time I didn't know how to pray. I'm like, I don't know what to say right now. Like so I really
so
just
many unknowns.
Exactly. It was a terrifying moment for me, because I just didn't know the outcome. But thank God we are here. We made it. But it was, I could say that was the most terrifying moment.
Yeah, that sounds really scary. So the next question I'd ask is, what has been the proudest moment as a mother to date?
To date? The proudest moment will probably be my oldest son getting baptized.
Yes. That's immediately what I thought of when I saw this question.
That
I was like, that's
awesome. The proudest thing for me. Like I've always, like, my kids come to church every Sunday. Yeah. I want to bring them up in that type of atmosphere, to know God is important, to know that it's not just about coming to a building, and worshiping. It's about being in fellowship with people who are like-minded. It's about experience the atmosphere, the worship. Like you won't experience nothing like this in no other atmosphere.
No.
I mean, you can go to another church, but for me, I love my church. So I feel like that's the atmosphere I want my kids in.
Shout out Living Hope.
Yep, Living Hope. Let's go. But my son, I always wonder, like, is he receiving all of this? We would ask questions. We read the word. We talk. We, recap the, service for Sunday, things like that. But it was one Sunday, pastor is going off. It's just a good day. And my son comes up to me and he's like, Mom, I'm ready to get baptized. And I'm like, okay,
yes,
you're 7.
Yes.
Do you know what getting baptized means?
Yeah.
And he was like, absolutely. It is getting baptized. All my sins are washed away, and I have a new life with Jesus Christ. And I was just blown away by the fact that he was so receptive. He knew what he wanted. He felt the move of God on him, and he was baptized. And I probably couldn't even get my life together. I don't know if there's pictures. I hope not. But I was just a mess, because I was just so proud at his, being on fire for God, wanting to get to know him, wanting to read his word. Like, he's on his Bible app on his tablet all the time. So and it's just, I love the fact that that's something that I'm giving to my kids that is going to be their gift for eternity. This is the generational wealth that people don't really talk about in today's. Everybody's talking about money, but let's talk about the real wealth,
because you're giving them eternal life. Like,
absolutely.
You're showing them what eternal life is, and no one knows what that is. Like, no one knows like what tomorrow holds for them.
Absolutely.
But at least your eternity is safe.
Absolutely. They like to, I want my kids to have wealth, money, money. But I'm like, money is temporary. Yeah. All of this is temporary. Yes. I want my child praising the Lord. I want all my kids to be saved. I want my family to be saved. I want my sons to be preachers if they want to. Like, I want God to be so prominent in their lives that they don't make a decision without him. Like, the smallest thing, I want them to run to God for it. Yeah. So, like, I'm proud of that as a mom, because, you know what I'm saying, my son is 3 and he's already like, I love Jesus. Yes. And I'm like, you better. That's right.
We love Peyton. He's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What is your go-to recipe? Like, one thing that you can just whip up in the kitchen without even, like, thinking about it.
So I make this thing called, I call it cowboy chili. Okay. That's what we call it. Okay. But it's like a turkey skillet. And it has, like, ground turkey, taco seasoning. And then I do, like, chopped zucchini, corn, beans. It's kind of like a chili, but it's just ground turkey. And then I throw some zucchinis in there. And then it's kind of like a taco taste.
Nice. Do your kids love it?
They love it. Yeah. Because I, like, put a bunch of cheese on top. Yes. So, like, it's all cheesy. Yes. I hide the veggies in there. So, like, it's covered in the cheese. But if I'm like, okay, last minute, if I can get my hands on a pound of ground turkey, that's the meal for the night. Yes. Everybody loves it. I'm happy. I take it to work the next day. That's my go-to meal. That and hamburger helper.
Hamburger helper.
Can't go wrong with that.
You can't.
We keep the boxes in the cabinets. Hamburger Helper.
I feel like Hamburger Helper is like the go-to when you're a kid, and then you get older, like a teenager, and it's ramen, and you're like, okay, what's the next step? And you're like revert back to Kraft macaroni and cheese, and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is it. And then it recycles itself. Hamburger Helper, ramen, Kraft macaroni and cheese.
My stepdad called it Chili Mac.
Chili Mac.
Chili Mac. And go-to meal. I remember like nights, my mom always had this thing where she was like, she doesn't cook on Fridays and Saturdays. Those are her mom off days.
Good rule.
It's my rule too.
That's a good rule.
Chicken nugget in the oven night on Friday, and we may do maybe some oven pizza maybe on Saturday, but Sunday I'll make a nice meal or something like that. But Hamburger Helper.
Nice.
We can eat that. Hamburger Helper, meatloaf, quick.
Yep. Keep it simple. So, who is your role model and why?
My role model. So I could say I have two, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I would say my grandparents.
Okay.
My grandfather passed a little while ago, but I would say them two. Like, they were just my role models for everything.
Yeah.
For like marriage, for like parenting, like everything. They always, no matter what, like they always had a plan. They always had it together. Like, even when they would argue, it was always back to the grounds what they knew. I loved how my grandfather was like the ultimate manly man. He was the provider.
Yeah.
He literally could fix anything. And I called him fix cars, fix anything in your cabinets. Like they were your traditional family. And a lot of my time was spent with them, and a lot of the values that I have today come from them. Like a lot of the, treat people with respect, no matter who they are, you love them. No matter who they are, if they need something, try to give to them. My grandfather was big on anyone is welcome into his home. You can get a hot meal, anything. And then they were awesome parents. And then not only did they parent and raise their children, they stepped in and raised all their grandchildren. Like to this day, my grandmother is the daycare provider for my son. So that's me. My mother, like she daycared everybody in the neighborhood. They're awesome people. And my Nana is showed me how to really be a mom. Mm-hmm. And she just gave me the opportunity to learn from her. It was always an open door. Whatever you want to know, come and know it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from making crab cakes to teaching me different things on how to discipline my son. I was always big on oh, he's young, let him run free. And my Nana was like, no, if you don't get that boy, he is going to run over you. And it's just been big. She's my biggest supporter. Shout out Rosemary Proctor. I love her to death. But
She's so awesome.
That's my role model. I wish to be as cool as she is.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. It's good to have a role model like that in your life, so close, that you feel connected to. So that's cool.
Yeah.
What are some traditions you enjoy as a family now?
Traditions?
Mm-hmm.
I could say, let me think. Because we have a lot of traditions.
Yeah.
So holiday traditions, we always come together and stay the night at my mom's house. The night before Christmas, we stay the night over there. We do a whole cocoa and marshmallow thing. We watch old Christmas movies. Awesome. And I'm not talking about just me and my everybody comes home. My brother's in college at Morgan State, he comes home, and my sister, she comes home. My aunt, everybody stays the night at my mom's. So that's a big tradition we do.
It's so cool.
And then every year in the fall season, we go visit the pumpkin patch. So things like that. We're big into keeping things going every year to make us spend time with each other, because life can get hectic.
Yeah.
So anything like that is a tradition for us.
That's so important to keep your family together. That's
definitely.
So important.
Everything's so busy now.
Yeah.
Work, we got kids, and then they're back to school. So it's it's important to make time to spend with your family. So we make anything a tradition. Oh, and we do a family trip every year.
Ooh.
Yep.
So where was your family trip this year?
This year, we literally stayed on a camping grounds over in Solomon's. We stayed over there. But next year, as a family, we're going on a cruise to Grand Turks.
Ooh.
I don't even listen. I've never been on a plane, and I'm terrified. Fun fact about me, never done that before.
It'll be fine. You'll have so much fun, I'm sure of it. That sounds like a really great tradition.
I'm excited. Yeah, we try to keep it family trip every year so we can just get away from the day-to-day and spend time with each other, catch up. Because a lot of us, we end up not even knowing what's going on in each other's lives. So,
the next question was going to be what your favorite family vacation is, but I kind of can guess. It's this family tradition that y'all have. But do you have another family vacation or favorite family vacation?
So my favorite family vacation of all time is we went to Florida. It was the last big vacation we did with my grandfather before he passed away. And we like stayed in Florida for 5 days. We had like this little condo thing, and like it was all of us crammed in there. Yeah. And then we just really got to spend quality time. Like that was my favorite trip. We stayed out there. We went to like downtown Disney. We went on an alligator boat ride.
Oh gosh.
And then ate fried alligator. Like, but
how was that?
It kind of tasted like chicken a little bit.
Gosh, I had a feeling. I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, everybody said about crab legs too. Mm-hmm. But we just got to spend time together, and my it was only Khalil at the time.
Okay.
And he had a really tight relationship with my grandfather, so they got to spend a lot of quality time.
That's so good.
It was just like our first family trip that we had to drive the whole drive all the way to Florida together. No. It really forced us to spend time together. And in that time, we really weren't spending much time together. Like, everybody was doing their own things. Like, we were barely even calling each other. Yeah. So when we had that trip, it was just time to spend together. My kids loved it. Well, my son loved it because he was the only one there. But
spoiled.
Right.
He got so spoiled. Mm-hmm. So, this one may be a little tough. You may have to reach down for it. What are 3 words that would describe your personality?
3 words.
I'm so interested to hear the answers.
3 words to describe my personality. I would say 1 would be funny.
Okay.
Because I'm a jokester.
Yeah.
And 2, I would say positive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I like to look at the upside of things. And the 3rd one I'm going to have to dig for because I'm trying to think. Loyal, I could say.
Yeah.
Is that a personality?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, you're just listing 3 words, so it's a word.
That's a word.
Yeah, it's a word.
Yeah, I could say that because, if you need me, I'm there. Mm-hmm. I try to be, like, the best I can be to the people I let in my life. Yeah. So I could say that, like, yeah.
So in the short few months that I've known Chantel, I think we really started, like, knowing each other in, like, February-ish.
Yeah.
It may have been around that time. But I definitely am very selective with who I let in my circle. And immediately I was like, well, she's super humble. Like, everything she's saying about herself right now is, like, very humble. Like, she's got 3 amazing young men. Like, 3 very amazing young men. They handle themselves really good in church. Even the little one, he's just so great, and he hugs me. And another word that I would use to describe you would probably be, outside of humble, just loving. Like, you're a very loving, caring person. Like, you are genuine. That would be my 3rd word. But everything comes from the heart. Like, you're talking about your grandfather. Like, I see those qualities in you. Like, you're always like, hey, do you need anything? Like, I told you about a situation I had. And you were like, oh, if you just need to call me or anything, like, I'm here for you. Like, you're so genuine.
You know why? Because you have been, like, an amazing, shout out to you for real, honestly. Because anytime, like, I need anything, I can call you. So it's like, I want to reciprocate that to you.
You're very good at reciprocating.
Please call me.
Yes. It's challenging.
I got your back.
It's challenging, but you're definitely all 3 of those words plus my 3 words.
Yes.
So, superstar.
I appreciate it.
Gold star. Let's move on. We have a few more questions for you. Well, that's all we have for this episode. Be sure to tune in next week for more words from your mama.